Drills Talk, episode 15. In this episode, we're going to discuss the top 4 methods to celebrate yourself. This is based off of a blog I wrote a year back entitled, Should We Stop and Smell the Rosebuds Too? The link is in the description. Please subscribe if you have not, like if you like it, leave a comment if you have any questions. Let's get into it. Number one. Number one is to sit down and think about why you decided to chase the dream. What made you make this big goal and decide, you know what, I'm going to actually try to accomplish that big goal? Were you broke? Were you broken? Were you unappreciated? Underappreciated? Did you grow up rich and think, okay, well, you know what, I need to give back? And part of your goal or your dream is to come up with a way to give back in a huge, a huge way. It may be money, it may be training, it may be opportunity, it may be connections, whatever that may be, but it's something that you've always wanted to do. Me personally, I grew up, I wouldn't say very poor, but at one point in time, in early childhood, I was very poor. And then by the teens, I got to, well, my mother got to middle class, and we lived a little better, and things got better and better from there, because then I went to college and I started getting my own stuff and got to a point in where I can do things like this on a daily basis in a place like this. And it was nowhere near even a thought. When I was growing up, I didn't even think about something like this being possible. So you can think in your own terms as to what your why is, and knowing, okay, well, I knew what my why was, and that should always make me happy. No, I haven't completed it yet, but I know what the why is, and I know what the what is. And if I complete that, I know how happy I would be. And that's cause for celebration right there. You're doing something that's going to bring you joy on a daily occasion. And that's something to celebrate, even if you're not there yet. I mean, if you're working out and you're losing weight, you celebrate the 5 pounds, you celebrate the 10 pounds. Your goal may be to lose 50, but you can't lose 50 without losing 5 first. You can't lose 50 without losing 10 first. So why not celebrate that? Why not celebrate just the gumption to even attempt to do it? Maybe you're attempting for the third, fourth, fifth time. Like, how many people would have quit already? How many people would have just accepted the fact that they're not going to look the way they want to look? But you didn't. You had the guts, and you had, the want to and the determination to say, you know what, I don't care that it didn't work out the first 4 or 5 times. This 6th time, this 7th time, it's going to work out, because I'm going to do this, this, and this differently. And that's cause for celebration. You're not a quitter. So, you just had to think of the why. You got to think of what made me do this. And that is something that you can look into and say, that makes me feel really good. That was pretty bold of me. That took a lot of, gumption to actually do, or try again, or try for the first time, because depending on what it is, it can be so crazy that, no one even wants to touch it. Right now, you're sitting alone trying to do something because it seems so impossible to others. So pat yourself on the back for continuously, pushing through and doing it regardless of how impossible, improbable it seems at the time. Number two. Number two is look at the growth. Now, this should make you even more happy, because you can see that, okay, well, let's say I started out poor, and then, my parent or parents got me to middle class, and I saw that, hey, this is pretty good, but I know that there's better. Let's see how far I can push this. And you actually, let's say you graduate from high school, you go to college, you get a degree. Of course, there are many other, paths, but I'm just giving you mine because that's the one I can speak of. So you graduate from college, and then you say, okay, well, graduating or going to college for me in my head was telling myself and guaranteeing myself that I would never live below middle class. So I get out of college, and if you've went to college or you've experienced a kid out of college, it's like there's no telling them that they can't take over the world. So I got out of college and I'm like, I'm going to take over the world. And of course, life hits you and you're like, okay, well, I'm still going to take over the world. It's just going to take some time. And others, they may not think like that. And they say, okay, well, I thought I was going to take over the world and I'm not going to. And that, I can't speak on that because that's not my, personality type. So what I said was, okay, it's going to take a little while. So before I would say my first great job that basically told me that, yeah, you're not going to live anything below middle class and you have a chance of getting to upper middle class or upper class or high class or whatever you want to call it, was, let's say, graduated 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 5 years after graduation. So, I went through jobs and knew and realized that, hey, these are cool. These will keep me in the middle class, but this is not going to ever propel me to anywhere near what I'm trying to strive for. So, it took me about 5 years and a huge leap of faith going into a different area that I never thought I would go into, which was consulting. And that got me, to making pretty good money. And, soon after, when you're making that good money, that honeymoon phase goes away. And then I started, to saying, okay, well, you need to start doing your own thing. And that started eating at me. And, I did consulting for a while and it was still eating at me. And I just up and made another leap of faith to go ahead and chase the dream full blown, in which was going into entertainment and going into business. So I incorporated and started a couple of businesses, and one side was, for entertainment. The other side is for business endeavors. And here I am today. So, that is growth. That's me looking at my growth and saying, hey, you were a kid in a city, in a not so great neighborhood in Brooklyn, New York, and now you are where you are, and that's not a finish line, but look at where you came from. Look at the growth. I couldn't imagine, I had imagination, which was, okay, well, yeah, life will be a lot, better. Things will be a little sweeter. You'll be able to afford things that you couldn't afford. But as far as actually living it, I couldn't imagine it because I never had it to imagine. And I wasn't much of a, look at TV and see how they're living and you can live like that, because I never really believed it. I always looked at TV, whether it was, scripted or quote unquote reality, as scripted and, not reality, fictional. So I couldn't grasp, living like that as real. So what I did was I said, okay, well, something like that. I don't know if their house is rented. I don't know if they actually have money. I really don't know, but I know that me doing what I need to do, I can get something like that. Maybe it's not a 10,000, 20,000 square foot home, but maybe I can get me a 5,000, a 4,000, something like that. I don't know. I don't even know if that kind of space is needed because, again, I'm coming from Brooklyn, and if you got over 1,000 square feet in your apartment, it's spacious. So, but then you live and you learn, and, I came down to the Atlanta area for college, and things are a lot more spacious down here. There's a lot more space everywhere. Apartments are bigger, homes are bigger. So, the space is crazy. And, if you've made that move from a northern inner city to, the South, you see, and you'll understand exactly how much difference there is as far as just space is everywhere. But yeah, just going ahead and looking at the growth will definitely be cause for celebration, and you'll say, okay, well, I'm in the right direction or on the right path. So, that's something that you can definitely do. Look at your growth and you'll say, okay, well, I'm not doing this for nothing. Number three is acknowledging the size of your goal that you're chasing. So okay, we've already known why, or where we're coming from. We've addressed the growth. Okay, but now let's look at the size. Let's look at what we're chasing. Let's look at how big it is, how improbable it is. How often does your story of rags to riches happen? We've heard it a lot, but it doesn't happen a lot. A lot of people, they die in the class that they were born in, and some go backwards. So maybe kudos to you for even taking the chance, or looking so far up and believing that you can be there. It takes some gumption, it takes some gall to just say, you know what? Yeah, I know where I was born. I know what place my family's in now, but we're not going to stay there. And I'm going to be the reason, or one of the reasons, that we're not going to stay there. That's huge. That's cause to celebrate. Wow. You're going to do that for not only you, but for your family that's not here yet, for your future family, your children, or maybe your nieces and nephews. You can do something for them. They'll have a business to, work in possibly, or they'll have connections because of what you're doing. If you're doing something in entertainment, the amount of connections you'll have, or you're doing something where you work in a medical field, or you're a lawyer or something like that, you just have all these connections to where you can get people in your family or your circle internships and opportunities that would not come their way. They wouldn't even know they existed without you doing what you wanted to do. So again, look at what you set out to do and say, hey, that's a huge task, but imagine all the opportunity that I'm going to be creating for me, myself, and my family, my circle. You're doing a huge, huge thing for them. They'll celebrate you, so you should celebrate you. And I know if you're anything like me, it's kind of hard to celebrate knowing that you're not at the finish line. So I actually sat down and, really thought about these things and said, hey, what can I use to sit? I'm pretty hard on myself. I'm my toughest critic. How can I actually, read these things and say, okay, I can see that. Maybe I should give myself a little applause. Maybe I should be okay with sitting back and maybe having a drink. If you don't drink, it doesn't have to be an alcoholic beverage, but if you, just sit down and relax, on your favorite couch, or, if you have a nice backyard, you can sit in your backyard and just let the breeze come by, look at the trees and have a drink and say, what I'm embarking on is amazing. And although I'm not there, I'm super thankful and super grateful that I have the opportunity to go for it. I'm still healthy. I can go for it. I'm still giddy about it. I still get happy about it. I'm still excited about it. I'm thankful for that, and be able to just unwind, because I know how stressful going after a dream can be. It's a lot of stress. Of course, people will see you and say, hey, you're doing great. But what goes into it. They see the glitz and glamour. You see the YouTube videos. You may see the likes. You may see the subscribers. But I remember when it was nothing there. I remember when I was struggling to get anybody to subscribe. I remember before YouTube, when I was starting a Facebook page, and I just couldn't figure out how to get people outside of my immediate circle to take interest in what I was doing. And it's pretty stressful. It's like, hey, what if they never do? And you question yourself all the time. And although you're this super, diligent person and you have self-confidence, it still has a chance of eating at you, because it's so much and it's constant. And I want you to know that, because you're going through that, you should celebrate. You're going through that because of your enormous goal. If your goal was something simple, you don't even have room to go through things because it's a step. Hey, I really want to, go outside today. Okay, well, you can walk to your mailbox and accomplish that. You're probably not going to hit any roadblocks, but hey, I want to go out and start a business, and I want people to not only embrace that business, but support that business through life. Oh, okay. Well, that's going to take some more things. You're going to have to go and jump through some hoops to accomplish that. A lot of hoops. daily hoops and, climb a couple mountains and fall down a couple and have to reclimb them. Okay, but I'm doing something that is going to enable the people around me to not have to do that. And that's going to feel good. It's going to feel good to be able to, give them a skip or be able to not have to climb that mountain because I climbed it already. Give them that opportunity that I would have loved, but I know I wasn't in a position or had the connections to get. You're working for you and always tell yourself that. I'm working for me and I'm struggling through this for me, and it's never just you. You're working for plenty of people. You're working for people you don't know you're working for. You're setting up your family to have opportunities and luxuries that you couldn't imagine, and you don't even know that they're going to get, but you keep working because your stress is going to alleviate their stress. They'll have stress too, especially if they actually, try to do some things, but it won't be the same that you're going through, and it won't be as much as you're going through. And that's something that you can sit and take pride in and feel good about and celebrate yourself before you even complete it or get to that, because you're going to be making these connections as you go up, as you continuously matriculate towards your dream. You're going to be able to, give some people that skip button or hook some people up and bring them to, just a little behind where you are, or maybe set them up to blast right past you. But if they blast past you and they remember you reached back, they may reach back, and then now you get a skip button, just realize that you're doing well. You're doing a great job, and people are not doing it. So you're doing something a very small few are, a very chosen few are. And you should feel good about that. Celebrate yourself. Number 4, learn to enjoy yourself by yourself. So everything doesn't have to be a big party. Everything doesn't have to be, I'm sending out invitations. I'm sending out save the dates. It doesn't have to always be that. Sometimes you need a quick pick me up and you don't have time to plan a huge party. It's not necessary. Okay, I want to feel good about myself. Let me turn on some music that I really enjoy. I'll dance by myself. Let me turn on some music I really enjoy. The nostalgia from certain songs playing to make me feel so good on top of what I'm celebrating by myself. Let me do a quick little workout. Yeah, I'm going to be tired, but I'm going to take a shower after. The shower's going to feel good. I'm going to get out the shower, and then I'm just going to relax and feel good and look back and remember why I'm doing what I'm doing, what it is that I'm trying to do. I'm going to remember where I came from, but also how far I've come so far. No, I'm not finished, but look how far I have to go. That's a huge goal. This is not easy. You understand all that is very, very easy to, applaud yourself and applaud yourself through the journey. You applauding yourself through the journey, you're going to actually help yourself get through it easier because you're celebrating and not saying, okay, well, goodness, I'm only 10% of the way. Goodness, I'm only 15% of the way. Goodness, it's only 20% of the way. I still have 80%. No, you've went 20%. Look how much is done or has been done in that 20%. And yes, you have 80 to go, but how big is that? Like, how big is that goal? That's not an easy goal to obtain, but you're doing it and you're 20% of the way. How many people are 20% of the way? How many other people attempted and stopped at 1%? How many never even started? You continued. It's a huge deal. Celebrate by yourself. Pat on the back. Maybe you go and get a massage, but you're still celebrating yourself. That person's working that's giving you a massage. They're not celebrating with you. They're at work. Get yourself a massage. Feel better. Maybe you go and walk around the mall. Maybe you don't want to spend any money, but you're just out and about. You're feeling good. They're playing music in the stores. You can people watch. You can get something to eat. You can drive home, listen to good music, get home and relax again. Maybe watch an old movie that makes you laugh, that you know is going to make you laugh. It's guaranteed. Watch an old TV show that you know is going to make you laugh and just enjoy that day. Enjoy yourself. Because tomorrow or later on that night, you're going to have some work to do. And if you didn't give yourself anything to feel good about all day, and now you have to sit down and get back to work and get back to the grind, you're always grinding. You're going to grind yourself out. For what? This is fun. This is what you wanted to do. This is part of the game, but I'm definitely going to celebrate parts of the game. I know it's hard. I know it's difficult. I'm going to feel good though. I'm going to smile. I'm going to, have fun with this. This is my life. This is what I chose to do. Why am I just going to walk around with a mean mug and a frown all day and saying, oh, this is hard and you don't understand and blah, blah, blah. For what? They're not supposed to understand. You are supposed to understand. You chose to do this. They didn't choose to do this. This is your dream, not theirs. Yes, if they're in your circle, they're going to benefit from it. That's part of it. But this is not their work to do. This is your work. You handle it. And by handling it, you're going to do the work and you're going to enjoy it. And you're going to smile through it. And you're going to feel good about yourself. At 5% complete, 50% complete, and 100% complete. You're going to feel good through the whole way because you know you're getting there. That bar is loading. It's not going backwards because you're not stopping. Episode 15, top 4 methods to celebrate yourself. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. It's drills.com. Check this out. It's drills.